What's up, gamers? It's your boy, and I've come to make an announcement. Don't use the souvenir shops. So if you're watching this video, odds are you've probably already seen Delay Designer's video where she goes more in depth into what's going on. So I'm just going to summarize. Basically, the souvenir shops in update 1.16 have been buggy for some people, causing things as mild as either they just doesn't work properly, the guests get stuck and things like that, to more severely it's causing crashes, and for some people it's even corrupted their save files and they can't even use the file anymore, at least as far as I understand it. And so this is a pretty severe issue for something that they just rolled out, and it probably has something to do with all the layoffs that have been happening at Frontier. They just rolled this out before it was ready. The good news is I did see a post from someone in the Bro Nation Discord where they were able to get in touch with Frontier, and Frontier confirmed that there is a bug fix that they have for this, but that because it's Christmas time and everyone's on holiday, that we should not be expecting this bug fix before Christmas. So I don't know when this is going to be fixed. Who knows? We'll find out whenever it happens. And from what I understood from what the person from Frontier said, it should let people who have corrupted files back into the file and everything should be fine. I'm not 100% sure on that, if maybe I'm misunderstanding. But if you have had your file corrupted, probably just leave it alone for now and just wait for the bug fix to come out, and hopefully everything should go back to normal. But like I said, don't know when that's going to happen. So for me personally, I didn't have any problems with the souvenir shops. I did put one into Matahau, and it's kind of unfortunate. Even though I haven't had any problems with it, I was able to get back into the file after making a backup file and also uploading a backup to the Steam Workshop. But unfortunately, I don't have a version of that file where I don't have the souvenir shops. So even though I was able to get in and out of the file just fine, I'm not really comfortable working in that zoo for the moment. And so that brings us to us being back in Af-Rui-Ka. Because we don't know when the bug fix is happening, I was a little worried because I don't really know what else to make in terms of content if I'm not going into Matahau for now. So the obvious answer would be, well, just go back to Af-Rui-Ka. But I think it's just time to rip the band-aid off. I'm not gonna ever finish this project. So for context, this is the first zoo file that I ever really worked in this game. This is pretty much everything I have learned in playing this game is I learned it in this file, more or less. This is not the original entrance. I will show you the original entrance. It looked something like this. This over here. This was pretty much what the original entrance to the zoo looked like. And I remember taking a long time on this, and before recording this just now, I whipped this together in about a minute. But I was proud of it back in the day. But yeah, the entrance building has gone through several iterations. This is the current one. But originally, this zoo was called Irwin Memorial Zoo, which that's what I was calling it when I started uploading videos. But the goal of that zoo was basically just to be the best zoo ever, as I guess a tribute to Steve Irwin, you know, the legend, my hero. But I pretty quickly, I guess not pretty quickly, but after a while I realized that not only was this not the best zoo in the world, but it wasn't even the best work that I could do. So I was presented with the option of either just stopping working on the zoo entirely, which I didn't want to do because I had already started uploading videos on this zoo, so I didn't want to do that. Or I could just start tearing everything that I had made apart that I didn't like anymore and wanted to redo. I didn't really like that option either, and so the conclusion I came to was just rebrand the zoo to be just a specific African zoo called Af-Rui-Ka, and then I could just finish that project with only African animals, because Irwin Memorial Zoo was going to have every animal in the game in it, which is absolutely nuts. And I am going to make Irwin Memorial Zoo at some point down the line when I actually have the skill to do it justice. So I was just going to make an African zoo and then finish it and then be happy with that, which I regret to say, since taking a little time off from the zoo and working on Matahau, I have had zero inspiration for this project at all. Like, it's not even on my mind ever. I don't think about it. I think about other projects when I'm thinking about things that I want to do in this game. It just doesn't really hold much interest to me, and I look at things that I want to do and change, and I don't want to anymore. And so I'm just not going to, unfortunately. This file will always hold a special place in my heart as the first Planet Zoo project I ever worked on, and I'm still really proud of a lot of things that I've done in here, but I want to move on. And so with that being said, I wanted to do a tour as a send-off for this project, so that people can see. If you're subscribed to my channel, you can see this, because I did upload videos on this, so I'm just going to show the whole thing now. And then I'm also just going to upload it to the workshop as is. No souvenir shops, don't worry, I'm not going to break your game. But yeah, so with that being said, let's just jump into the zoo. And right off the bat, we have this really cool entrance that this is still one of the things that I'm very proud of, even though it's not 100% done, but it's just really cool looking. It's very like modern building. It doesn't really have any specific inspiration outside of maybe the Jurassic Park entrance, or not entrance, visitor center slightly, because you have like the main hub and then the two wings on the side, so like very vaguely inspired off of that. Here, I'm in pause mode. Let me go in unpause mode for a second, even though I forgot how laggy this file is when I am running OBS at the same time. But yeah, it's not 100% finished. There's still plenty of things that would have needed to be done, but I just can't bring myself to go back to them, as I have already mentioned multiple times. Even though it does look good, I am very pleased with it still. On this side, there's the restrooms, which I did decorate one side of the restrooms, and this is a zebra themed bathroom, I guess. It's just all black and white. Kind of hurts my eyes a little bit, but hey, it's fine, it's whatever. I even made a custom like sink and trash cans and these little paper towel dispensers with font pieces for paper towels. Yeah, I've done a lot of things, lots of things that I am proud of in this project, but yeah, I've already talked about all that. And then on the other side, there's the gift shop, which doesn't have a gift shop, thank goodness, because that may have broken things. This is just a memento counter. I put this in before we even knew that the souvenir shops are going to be a thing. I put this in a while ago, to be honest. I've put in like more than 1.5 years of work into this project. And then we come out, we're immediately greeted with the lion habitat. So if we go and look at this real quick, this little pride rock, I guess it's not little, it's pretty decent sized, but it's not like a 2-scale pride rock. This is like the one thing that is left standing from the original, I guess, zoo that I made, because I've changed a lot of things, and this pride rock is the one thing that's left. But everything around the pride rock has changed. It's all become very different, and as you can see here, I have the ugly non-remastered lions in because I took all my remaster mods out for a different video that is going to be coming out shortly. But anyways, moving on with the tour, we're going to see some things that I've already shown off on the channel. Over here is the islands and coast section of the zoo. So we have, first up, the African penguins. this is a much newer habitat, so I still am really pleased with how this turned out. So you just come in, you can see there's a lower level, and there's some fountains here for kids who want to get in water for fun. That way you're like immersed in the habitat, because you're, oh wow, you're playing in the water with the penguins. How cool is that? I still really love this slide thing that I added, even though African penguins do not live on ice caps or glaciers or anything like that, so they don't really slide around on their stomachs. It's not a thing that they do, but they can walk up and down the slide, so that's fun for them. It's just one of those things that I did in the zoo that I was just kind of like, that's cool, I'll just go with it. And then there's another viewing area where you can see them eat. There's no land viewing area. Oh, that penguin was flying for a second. There's no land viewing area, which I kind of regret, because you want to be able to see them do all their cool stuff on water and on land. And there's just like a little viewing thing, which has a bunch of pieces on it, and I like the way that turned out. And then zooming right on ahead so this tour doesn't take too long, we go right into the lemur land, which this is definitely still one of the best habitats that I have made. Yeah, it's just like kind of a lemur island thing going on. Not that you can barely see the water because I used a bunch of periwinkle leaves to be like duckweed, but you can go all the way up so you can see their elevated area up here, and then there's like some cool sight lines with that building. Whoa, nope, that's not how zooming works. Here's that building way off in the distance, which we will get to shortly. And I didn't actually plan that sight line, it just kind of happened, but I'm gonna pretend like I planned it so that I seem like a good zoo planner, even though, as you'll see with this zoo, I'm not necessarily. But yeah, the lemur island, this nice climbing frame. As you can see, I didn't connect any of the climbing pieces so that the lemurs will jump across the different pieces, which I'm not sure. Sometimes this climbing frame breaks, and I'm not seeing any lemurs on it right now, so it's probably broken. Unfortunate, but it is what it is. We're already in the tour, we're just gonna keep going. So yeah, just like a really detailed habitat, and I really like the way it looks, and I'm still very happy with it. I tried uploading this to the workshop one time because someone in the comments asked if I could, and so I tried, and then it didn't work. So you're just gonna have to come check it out yourself. But moving right along, the next animal we have is our other Madagascar animal, the fossa, which this habitat is kind of hard to see into, and it's just kind of like off to the side of the path. I did make all this like cool signage and stuff, so that's fun, but you can't really see into this habitat very well, and the placement of it is not great. But if we just like walk in, it looks pretty cool. There's like tons and tons of liana vines going around. It's like so like visually crowded, it's kind of hard to tell what's going on, but there's like some elevated platforms and climbing things. So maybe this habitat is almost a little too busy. It's kind of hard to tell what's going on, like I said, but hey, I'm not fixing it now. And then moving right along, then we get to the Aldabra tortoise habitat, and I just remembered that I removed the radiated tortoise mod, which I had the radiated tortoises in this little area here. I don't think I've saved the game yet, so if I put the mod back in and then I save the game, then we should be okay, because I am going to upload this to the workshop, and so if you have the radiated tortoise mod, then you'll see them in here. There's also the Aldabra tortoises. You can walk around here, and they have a little shelter area, and you can be like right up close to them. You could even touch them if you want to, but they might bite you, so don't be stupid. You can even walk through. Oh, a little bit of lag spike. You can even, it's a walkthrough habitat, and there's all the tortoises in here, and you can once again touch them if you want to get bit, maybe, if you're into that kind of thing. Yeah, really simple, small habitat. The shelter is in shape of a tortoise, vaguely. Yeah, I like this one. Nice little habitat. And then we come out of that section and we look into the big savanna habitat, and this savanna habitat is not finished, and it's been through a couple different iterations, mostly with the foliage. The first foliage palette I used was very odd. This far right side over here was all like grasslandy, while this left side was sort of jungly, and it just didn't make any sense. It was completely unrealistic, so I scrapped that, and then I swapped it out for more like a grass. Just put grass everywhere. When the grassland pack came out, just buffalo grass everywhere, which again is not necessarily that realistic, because with this much hoof stock in one enclosure, they would have eaten it all. So then my plan was to make like elevated rock areas, put the plants on there, and then just have the ground be all like dirt and stuff. That's actually a real thing that real zoos do, and I kind of started working on that, never got actually around to it. Before we go over to the right, there's, I don't know why I'm taking the long way around. There's a bridge that goes across. I just added a bridge because I was like, if you want to get from this side to that side or vice versa, it's shorter this way, so that's convenient. And there's this sort of platform thing in the middle where I guess this was going to be like an education area. There is glass here. You can't really see it. Yeah, you can kind of see it. But one of the problems with this habitat is the top-down view, which I used to do, and I see a lot of people do, and I'm just not a big fan of the top-down view, because you're just putting unnecessary amounts of distance between you and the animals a lot of the time, and you're kind of just looking down on the animals' backs, and you're not getting a good experience, not as good as it could be. So this is one of the habitats where I was like, yeah, this is kind of the reason why I don't really want to keep working, because this is just not what I want for a zoo, really. It's just not. I don't like this habitat that much, if I'm being quite honest. Not a fan. And I've already come up with a much more visually appealing layout for the not Af-Rui-Ka. This is Af-Rui-Ka, but my future Irwin Memorial Zoo project. Like, I'm really excited to work on that savanna habitat, even though that's definitely a long ways away. And then off to the right, we have the predators of the savanna section, even though none of this is labeled as that. But I did work on all this for YouTube, so if you've been watching my YouTube videos, you've already seen everything in here. So just to run through it quickly, first we have the cheetahs right here. You have a little viewing hut. And see, this is what I mean with like having good views. I put the food enrichment right up next to this glass here, so that you can like get nose to nose with the cheetahs pretty much, as opposed to something over here where you just kind of have to look down at all the animals, and you're just not getting that close connection to them. Not sure what that buffalo was doing with that jump. I haven't even seen the cheetahs though, so maybe the other view is better because you can actually see the animals. But I digress. Just a long, straight habitat with a big moat around it. Lots of African theming, yada yada. Over here's the wild dog habitat. This is one of the more realistic ones because it's just kind of big open space. It's got some realistic fences going around it. Just a habitat, even though it does have like a water feature. In real life, it would probably be relatively expensive to maintain a water feature like this, but this was supposed to be like a spared no expense project. But again, you have like plenty of like close-up views. Did the exact same thing with the cheetah habitat, where food enrichment's right up there, so you can see them doing their like natural behaviors, even though the only natural behavior that I saw the African wild dogs do is what this one is doing, is sleeping. Well, I refer to when I went to the Dallas Zoo and I saw the painted dogs. I mean, they are African wild dogs, but I prefer the term painted dog. But yeah, they were just sleeping. And then we have the Amur leopard habitat, which, even though these leopards are Russian, usually, as I've already mentioned, leopards in zoos are usually Amur leopards, but they'll often be presented as African leopards in African sections, because most people don't even know that leopards live outside of Africa. I didn't know that for a long time, but oh, that one's flying. Look at it. What? Why are all my animals flying today? Stop. Anyways, yeah, kind of an interesting designed habitat. Very, very complex. And I put all these like, what are these called? Climbing frames going across from this like middle island section to the outer ones. But then they just kind of jump across most of the time. So didn't actually work. And then over here we have spotted hyenas with this ridiculously large bridge that I talked about, which doesn't do anything other than provide shade for the path so that there's a better lighting gradient. And then there's also very Lion King-esque elephant graveyard going on here with gigantic elephant bones. Those are absolutely enormous elephants. And then again, there's an up-close viewing area with glass, all one-way glass, of course, spared no expense. But then my favorite habitat by a long shot in this section is the striped hyena habitat, which is just in this like island, the round island, but you can also go inside the island to the ranger outpost. And then there's more one-sided glass going all the way around. So there's supposed to be a toy enrichment there. They definitely moved it. There's like food enrichment and stuff over here, even though this side of the island is always in shadow, which another problem I had with this file is that I oriented the zoo the wrong way, so that there's like certain areas that are just always in the darkness, and it's not good. But like the best thing is the view from the Jeep. You come and you sit in the Jeep and you see them walk up this little wooden bridge, and even though they do it quite regularly, they're probably not going to do while I'm recording because they're camera shy. Even though I definitely got that for the actual video, I got that on footage. But yeah, this is my favorite thing. The way you can just like sit in this Jeep. Oh, there it goes, see? And you're like super up close. It's just so cool. Such a good view. This is definitely one of the best things that I've put in this project is the striped hyena habitat. There's no reason I had to go this hard on a striped hyena habitat when like some of the other habitats here are kind of mid. But it is what it is. Excuse me. There's the yawn. I haven't been yawning in my videos as much lately. It's been crazy. It's like I'm not even myself anymore. Over here is some playground stuff I was working on. The ape house was actually where all this predator stuff is back in the day, and I was gonna put a playground inside the ape house so that you're playing and then there's also apes playing around you, and it's cool, right? But then I was like, maybe the apes wouldn't like that very much, and keeping apes in zoos in general is a little ethically questionable. So I decided not to do that, and I was going to put the apes over in that direction, which I just never did. So there's no apes in the zoo right now. My bad. Then down there's the safari, which we're not even going to look at now. Over here's the giraffe habitat, which got a little torn up a bit. There was elevated platforms here, which you're supposed to be able to see the giraffes from, but I built them. Oh, 2 yawns, 1 video, let's go. I built these before I actually put the giraffes in, so they were actually way too tall. So I had to tear them apart and then rebuild it to actual scale with the giraffes so that you could be on their level and then you could like feed them or something. Not that we have giraffe feeding in the game, and with Frontier laying off all their employees, who knows how much support Planet Zoo is going to get for the future. But that's a topic for another time. Yeah, it's a habitat. I built this like shelter area just to have a shelter area to meet the need that animals in Planet Zoo have to have shelter, and for the game that works. For real life, this doesn't count as shelter. This does not qualify. So that's another thing that I just kind of did without really knowing what I was doing. because I was ignorant, and so I watched other Planet Zoo YouTubers, and I was like, oh, that's how zoos actually are supposed to work. Then we go over here to the desert, and we get this peek into here, into this scimitar horned oryx habitat, which has also been torn apart considerably, even though this cool thing is still here. I was gonna reorient this facing the other way so that you could like see down it better from the other viewing area, but that's another thing of the past. Go over here deeper into the desert area, and then here's a half-finished caracal habitat. Oh, perfect timing. We get to see them on the overpass. It's the melanistic one too. Let's see it from the other side. It looks the same because the way the sun is oriented right now, it's shady on both sides. How unfortunate. But yeah, there's a caracal habitat with an overpass. This side is done, and I put in like a toy enrichment and water over here, and then the food enrichment is over here, so this way it forces the caracals to actually go back and forth. This side is not done, as you can plainly see. This side is done, so look at this side. This side looks nice. There's no netting over the top, which is a thing that I was gonna do because they would climb out otherwise, but again, that's a thing of the past. Here's another thing that I am very, very, very proud of, is the nocturnal house, which also all the animals in the nocturnal house have outdoor areas. This is the aardvark section, outdoor section, which has a natural termite mound, even though the aardvarks can't actually use that, which is dumb. Oh, here one comes now. But yeah, this is probably the best thing I did in the zoo, unintentionally. I just kind of made it, and then it turned out really, really well. Super, super happy with it. On this side, there's an outdoor area for the African porcupines, and it's kind of like a little spa because they have the water jet rocks and also the hot water taps. So that's fun for them. There's a little drain so that they don't drown in water. I like these wall statues okay, but they're definitely not as detailed as they could be because I'm not Drac. And then this is the other viewing area for scimitar horned oryxes. Again, not the best view in the world, could be better. But let's actually go into the nocturnal house, and for that, let me turn this to night so that the lighting actually works, because it doesn't work properly if you don't do this. So in the middle here, there's the exhibit boxes, and what I was trying to do here was make it seem like there's not really glass, so I just like blended the exhibit in with the natural rocks, and I tried to just make it feel like, you know, you could just reach in there and grab this venomous snake if you wanted to. That would be fun. But the way the glass works in Planet Zoo, that you can definitely tell that they're in a glass box, because the exhibit boxes in Planet Zoo are in desperate need of some TLC, but may not happen. Here's the indoor part of the aardvarks, and you can see one walking in right there. Very cute and adorable. And then over here, this is the sandcat, if I remember correctly. Yes, because there's climbing frames. This is the sandcat. Can we see one? Nope. Just like real life. You're not gonna... Actually, I did see sandcats last time I was at the DC Zoo. But their habitat was much smaller and not nearly as epic as this. And there actually is one right here. Hang on. There it is. So goofy looking because I don't have remasters installed. There's a scarab beetle, which is like the most boring exhibit animal in the game, and I'll fight you on that. This is the fennec fox area. Again, it's probably kind of hard to see for you watching the video just because it's dark, but if you really want to check it out, you can check it out yourself later. But yeah, fennec fox, and then over here the African porcupines. There's one there, and yeah, this isn't finished either, to be honest. There's nothing really finished in this 100%. But yeah, this is like my pride and joy of this zoo. And look, it looks great outside because the moon is so bright all the time, but it just never looks that good inside. But hang on, let me go back to day real quick. And there was going to be outdoor for the sandcat and the fennec fox, and I actually had to use free build to like cheat basically so that they could go under the staff paths that are going through the back of the building, because I made like semi backstage area back there, which isn't even good at all, so I'm not going to show that. But yeah, there's outdoor areas for all the nocturnal house animals, which isn't super realistic for a nocturnal house, because if they're in the daytime, when it's actually day, then they're going to go to bed. But because they're actually going to know that it's day, when the whole point of a nocturnal house is basically to trick them into thinking it's day when it's night, and it's night when it's day. And then here's the camel habitat, which is also actually the Somali wild ass habitat, which I don't know why I didn't add these guys when I was actually making the video. I only put the dromedary camels in for the video, even though they came out in the same DLC, so no reason for me to not do that, but I did. Anyway, a very big habitat, which I put these enrichment things here to lure them over here, but they mostly stay at the far side of the habitat, so it's not actually a very good view. I was gonna put like basically a feeding area in the backstage so that the guests could actually come in and feed them, because dromedary camels are domesticated and the Somali wild ass is basically just a feral, not feral, but a wild donkey. So like it could be hypothetically feasible. The best thing about this habitat is still this little tent that I put in. Love that. Looks epic. But here's something that I never actually showed. So you were actually going to be able to go inside the pyramid, and there's a path going through the pyramid, which this was actually going to go to the India section of Irwin Memorial Zoo, which it's not that anymore, so it wasn't going to be that. But then down here we go all the way down this circular stair thing. This was more complete at one point, but I tore a bunch of things up in here too. So this is actually where the scarab beetle and one of the snakes was going to go before the arid pack, and then the arid pack came out and that changed my mind. But basically this was supposed to be like the pharaoh's tomb, and it's a walkthrough with the fruit bats, and then there's some exhibit animals. But the best thing that I've actually made in here, because I didn't actually make a lot in here, but if you go into the water area down here, I put tons of the gold reward statues for the crocodiles, and then I just covered it with the gold plates, and it's just like a cool theming thing, I guess, where it's like, oh, this is all the pharaoh's riches, and if you steal it, your arms will turn into dust, or I don't know, something random. And then I also kind of wanted to make like a ride. I wanted to like tear this apart and make a ride, which also probably wasn't gonna work because this isn't Planet Coaster. But I wanted to make a ride and have it be like, I don't know, something Tomb of the Pharaoh ride, and you go through and there's bats and it's cool. But yeah, not happening. No sir or ma'am, depending on what you identify as. Yeah, so that's that. Cool idea, never really got executed. I'm zooming right along because this video is already long. Here's the black rhino habitat that I've already showed on the channel. Looks great, still holds up very well. Very pleased with how this turned out. So that's that. And then on the other side we have mixed species with Gemsbok, with Dama Gazelle and Addex. Another very solid habitat, which I like it a lot. Looks very nice. But then, if you've been following up with the channel, you've already seen that. What we haven't shown on the channel yet was the Pachyderm Palace, even though it's only going to have one Pachyderm in it. So this is a very large building. As you can probably tell, the color scheme is pretty much just ripped from the Dome of the Rock, with the blue, lots of different color stuff on the, like the top half, and then like the more white on the bottom with the gold domes at the top. These are all made out of the golden whatever South America pack pieces. They're just flipped around backwards, so if you go inside you still can't really see because it's dark. But yeah, this was like gonna be something that was really cool. And then these, the elephants with the fountains, I've seen other people do this, but I hadn't when I made these, so I can take credit for this idea myself, even though other people also had the same idea. But yeah, really like these, and this is definitely coming back. This is just, it's just too good of an idea. I'm using this again later on, probably in Irwin Memorial Zoo. But then you go up these stairs, and as you can see, there's only stairs, no ramps, so no wheelchair people allowed, which is an issue, which people in the Koali crew, the Koali Zoo crew, I'll always hear them talk about that. Oh, you need to have ramps, you need to have ramps. So that's another problem that is in here. On this side we have the white rhino. This building was put together before the arid animal pack, so the black rhino just didn't really have anywhere to go in here, so I had to put it somewhere else. But this side's the white rhino, and both sides, both wings of the building kind of have the same thing going on, where you go down and there's a lower viewing area, and then there's also, you go up the stairs and there's upper viewing area. I apologize for the frame rate, by the way. It's a struggle right now. My PC's not the best, but it's not the worst. It's kind of like just mid. But yeah, not decorated habitat. There was also going to be an elevated area and like a lower area so that they could come up and you could see them up here and also down there. I would have needed to put like a pretty hefty fence going around the elevated area, because a fall from that height would definitely kill a rhino. And over here we have the elephants, the actual pachyderms in the Pachyderm Palace. And here we kind of run into the problem that I mentioned earlier, where the lighting is not it. The lighting does not work for this habitat, because you're just seeing all the animals backlit. And that's kind of a Planet Zoo problem in general. Planet Zoo, I mean, obviously it's an absolutely gorgeous game, but the lighting for the engine is okay. I'll say that much. It's okay. But yeah, it's not the best view. And then there's also an elevated view, which doesn't really, you go up some more stairs and it doesn't really have a point. Like, you're just seeing them from further away. So yeah, I had some ideas of things going on and nothing really actually went on. And then on this side, arguably the best side is the hippo side. And this side, actually, the lower area has an underwater viewing, so this side like actually justifies its existence. And there you can see one just kind of doing its little ground walk. But then the upper viewing is not so good, because there's nothing here. There's a bunch of water, but you can't see them. You can't see the hippos in the water, so it's like, what's the point of this view? Nothing. You walked up these stairs for pretty much nothing, even though you can see one now, but it's just gonna walk away. Nothing good to see up here. So yeah, again, not the best planning for this habitat or the zoo in general. And there's a big open space here, which I had multiple ideas for, which never came to fruition. And over here, another area that has never been seen on the channel before is the wetlands area. So over here, oh, before I get to the wetlands area, hang on. Let me show you the Knick-Knack Shack. This is the gift shop before gift shops came to the game, except the gift shops in the game are broken. So this is the Knick-Knack Shack. It's not really done. It's just mostly a bunch of African pieces just thrown together, because at this stage in my building, I was just clicking the filter for African pieces and just doing that, and that's it. And that's why I still kind of am unfamiliar with a lot of pieces from a lot of the other themes. The one thing I really like around here is this little thing here. So these are all egg pieces, all colored different colors. And you know, like in gift shops where they'll have those little areas with a bunch of semi-precious stones in them, and there'll be little baggies, and you can fill up the baggies and buy them. That's what this is, or at least it's the start of something like that. And there's like over 300 eggs in there. So that's the one thing in here that I'm like, yeah, I like that. But the rest of this was definitely getting torn out because I actually was going to put a gift shop at the entrance, and then I was going to put a souvenir shop at the entrance when those came out. But those are broken, so that's never happening. Anyways, back to the whalelands area. This is the okapi habitat. A lot of the stuff has been torn out of these habitats as well. So there's no like trees actually in the habitat, which there was supposed to be. Just very lush, dense foliage. It looks good, but it's not the most realistic. It looks... I'm not even gonna say good, to be honest. It looks like... It looks like something. I don't even know what I'm trying. I can't even speak English anymore. Oh well. We're just gonna keep going. I'm too far into this at this point to stop. This is gonna be the... Well, this was the Nile monitor habitat, which I don't even have them in here anymore because I was gonna redo that and put them in an indoor habitat, because you usually don't put reptiles in outdoor habitats just because they're very susceptible to different temperatures and humidities and stuff, so they have to be monitored more closely than that, which this is a tropical biome, so maybe they would have been fine, but whatever. And then there's this big long trail, which I did actually swap out ramps here, so wheelchair people can come in. So first we have the bongo habitat, and this one, the foliage work and everything looks significantly different from the other ones because I redid this one and they were all going to be looking like this. But again, I kind of have a top-down view going on, which I've already talked about how I feel about top-down views in this game and in real zoos. Not just in this game. But yeah, this was probably just gonna get redone again, which it's not gonna do, even though like it's very detailed, which is nice. Having detail in the game always looks great, but yeah, just not it ain't it. And then there actually was a restaurant right here at one point, like, which was kind of cool because it had views into the habitats and stuff. So like you're eating food and looking at animals at the same time. It's cool, but like this was actually where there was gonna be like an elevated building here, and that's where the monitor was gonna go. On this side we have the Leshway and the Red River Hog. Not much to say here. Just another habitat. Over to this side it's the Nyala again. Not much going on. And then last we have the Pygmy Hippo, which again there's not the best views because like either they're far away or they're in the water and you can barely see them in the water. I did make it transparent enough that you can see them a little bit, but not see them that well. So yeah, there's a lot of problems with this section specifically. I already mentioned top-down view. It's also just kind of a long racetrack path, and you can just kind of walk through it and just kind of glance at either side and be like, okay, yeah, that looks nice. Whatever, I'm just going to keep walking. And you're not going to really stop and pay attention to any of these animals. And it's a bunch of just different habitats with pretty much all hoof stock and also a monitor that got taken out. But mostly just hoof stock, which are never going to be the most popular animals in zoos. So it's like, this whole section is like one of the more skippable sections, quote unquote, even though if you're like a super zoo animal enthusiast, you're going to be excited to see all these animals. But for just the average person visiting the zoo, they're just going to like walk through this and be like, eh, whatever, you know. Saw a bunch of striped animals with horns and hoofs, like, cool, I guess. And then you're going to forget about that because you're going to go see the gorillas or something, and that's going to be memorable if you actually see them. Oh yeah, also there's no fences. There were fences, but now there's none for fun. This is actually where the old hyena habitats were. Again, like before the arid animal pack. I'm trying to remember why I changed my mind on what was going on over here. This is where the spotted hyenas were. Another top-down view, but this one's okay because there's multiple different views, because you can go down into this tunnel here, and then there's an actual up-close view, so you can look in and like there's the bedding there. So like this habitat, it's less problematic. And then if you go down this way, this was definitely added later because the striped hyena was not out when I first made this. This was where the striped hyenas were, and it's just a habitat. It's perfectly fine, nothing really wrong here. I just wanted to make a new one, and I definitely did make a better habitat for them. And there also were some exhibit animals in here. I forget what's gonna be in there, the snail or something. There's actually not a lot of African exhibit animals in the game, which is fine. I'm not really asking for more exhibit animals because I tried to work with them. Like you'll see here, I stuck a mask into the snail exhibit, and then over here I like lowered the ceiling with the foliage panel that comes in the aquatic pack, and then I added some stalactites, which I'd never recolored, so they look a little weird. But I did try to make them more interesting, and it's just kind of hard to do because they're not very modular. The exhibit boxes need to be more modular, and they're not, even though the most recent modular thing didn't work. But I'm gonna stop talking crap about the souvenir shops. And then we come out. There's multiple different ways to get to the warthog habitat, but it's a warthog habitat, and it looks good. It's fine. I forgot how whack the warthogs look without the remaster mod, but they definitely, you know, they look better with the mod. And this area is going to be like, again, I have Pride Rock over there, and then I have the meerkats and the warthogs right next to each other, which is like obviously intentional. So the meerkat habitat is kind of an interesting one, because I came up with this idea where you would go down into the tunnel, and then the roof is actually glass, so you can see right there's a meerkat walking up above you. And this is just an idea that I came up with on my own. Like, I don't know if any real zoos have done anything like this, but it's cool in theory. In practice, it might cause a problem, because I don't know how the zookeepers are going to get in here to clean this. So if the meerkats are pooping and peeing in here, it's just going to be nasty. So maybe it's not the best idea, but hey, it's Planet Zoo, and I can just turn pooping off because it's sandbox mode. And then you go out, and there's like an outdoor area too, which looks perfectly fine. And then there was going to be like a path that went up over this part and went around the back, and then you get over to the beach, because there's a beach in the zoo, and it was going to be called Hakuna Matata Beach. And back when it was Irwin Memorial Zoo, there was going to be like penguins, king penguins over there, because I was going to be the Antarctica area for the one Antarctica species that we have. Not that king penguins even really spend most of their time on Antarctica. There's not actually that many penguins that do that. Most of them live in the islands around it. But anyway, that's aside from the point. And that is the whole thing. That's everything. That's the whole zoo. Everything I did in a year and a half's time, from the time I started really playing this game seriously until I kind of put it down. And I guess that's all that I'm gonna do. And now that I'm at this point, I'm a little bit sad, but I just don't see myself working on this project anymore. I have other things that I want to do. I don't know how long I'm gonna have to wait on the bug fix for the souvenir shops, so I don't know if Mod to How is gonna be worked on, and depending on how long that takes, I may start on another project that I've been thinking about and meaning to do for a long time, which I haven't got to yet, but I'm really excited for it. And I didn't want to just make another zoo project, because there's a lot of people uploading just zoos on YouTube, and I don't really want to knock anyone for that. Like, I'm subscribed to dozens of different people that upload Planet Zoo videos because I'm just obsessed with the game. But I wanted to bring something to the table that was more unique and like actually I wanted to help people learn how to play the game better or just stuff like that. I don't know. We'll see. We will see. But for now, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to see more, you're not going to see more of this zoo. But if you are interested in seeing anything else, like, subscribe, blah, blah, blah. Video's too long. Okay, bye.